My name is Marcus and welcome to Tabletop Reviews, where I sit on my couch next to my tabletop and review something. Today I am once again reviewing 3 games, but I'm going to do my best to make sure it doesn't become another 40 plus video. A bit shorter because there isn't overly much to talk about, but today I'm talking about Unstable Unicorns. And the reason that I say 3 games is because I'm including Unstable Unicorns Not Safe for Work and Llamas Unleashed. All 3 are basically the same game, playing the exact same, and there isn't really a lot of differences that I want to talk about, but there's a few. But first, we need to head to the table, see how it's set up and how it's played. Okay, here we are at the table. I'm going to use just basic Unstable Unicorns as my example of play and setup. But as well, as I said, the setup and the gameplay is the same for all 3 of these games. So, how do you set the game up? Well, you start off by first spreading out the baby unicorn cards. And each player gets 1 baby unicorn to be put in their stable. So this is like a starting card in your stable. And then the rest of the baby unicorn cards are just put aside somewhere to not be used anymore. Then you grab whatever other cards you may have, if it's just the base game or some from the expansion, you know, whatever other cards you have at your disposal. Grab it out, shuffle them. I'm not going to shuffle these ones. Shuffle them out, put them in the middle, and each player gets 5. There we are, we have the game set up and ready to play. 3 players as the example. So basically, the game is all about getting unicorns in your stable. If you're 2 to 5 players, it's 7. And if you are, what is the max number of players? I can't remember. I mean, that must be 6 to 8. It's 6 unicorns in your stable to win. But you can say that you want 7 only, you want 8, you want 9. If you want to expand the game and make it run a little longer, if you want that. But basically, the way you play is at the start of your turn, well, you check to see if you're unstable, if you have any cards that state at the beginning of this turn. Because right now we have the beginning of the game, no one has a card that says at the beginning of the turn. So you get on to the draw phase. You draw a card, and then you show your hand, and then you have the action phase, you might call it. You can play a card. There are quite a few different kinds of cards. There are instant magic cards, which usually have an instant action, do something right here and right now, and then discard the card. You have upgrade cards, which is something you can add to your stable to give you an advantage. It can vary in many different things. You have downgrade cards, which you can play into your opponent's stable to give them a disadvantage for the rest of the game. You have basic unicorns, which obviously just added to your stable as one of your own unicorns. And you have magic unicorns, which all have a special power that does something right when they're played, or at the beginning of the turn, or at the end of your turn. It basically will say on the card when this action happens. So one thing I forgot to mention is nay cards, and basically they're like an instant card, instant magic card. But they, if the opponent tries to play a magic card, then you basically just go nay, and then they can do it. But they can then play a nay card on your nay card, but they can play a nay card on their nay card, and then they can play a nay card on it. And that's it. You go through this until someone has achieved the winning condition of 7, 6, 8, 9, 5, 4, however many unicorns you want. And when someone have that, they've won the game. And that's about it. Now, for our Llamas Unleashed, it's not unicorns, it is animals. Because you actually have 3 different kinds of animals in here. You have rams, you have alpacas, you have llamas, and I think you also have goats, so it's 4 different ones, yeah. But it's the same game. Otherwise you have magic animals, normal animals, downgrade, upgrade, and magic cards So it's the same game, and of course the not safe for work version is obviously the exact same one, but it's more, you know, dirty jokes rather than cutesy jokes. It's very, very dirty jokes, or very, what do you want to say, morbid jokes. I mean, on the background here you have a unicorn eating the flesh of another animal, just as an example of what you can find in this one. But they're played exactly the same. You start off with a baby unicorn or baby animal, and you build it up. Now one thing quickly about Llamas Unleashed is the fact that in this one you can have magic cards that are specific to a type of animal. So it specifically attacks llamas, specifically attacks alpacas or whatever, which is kind of nice. But talking about what I think of that one, of course, is for when we're back up on the couch and talking about my final thoughts. So let's head back there now. So that was the setup and the gameplay. Now let's talk about it and what I think about it. So obviously, setup and gameplay, incredibly simple. It's very simple. I don't really think there's anything noteworthy. I mean, on the gameplay alone, draw a card, play a card. There's some nice choices. Expansions does change it up a little bit. It is difficult to shuffle such a large deck, and that's something I hate about the huge decks. It's so difficult to shuffle and really get something changing. But if you get a good shuffle, you get new cards almost every round. It becomes okay interesting what cards come up and what you're gonna do, and that's also the kind of thing that keeps every single game different. But again, it's very simple, and the gameplay itself is nothing to really talk about. The only thing is in Llamas Unleashed, where of course instead of having unicorns and narwhals as a joke, you actually have 4 different creatures, and you can hit all of them, you can hit only some of them. So if one person is like, I'm keep on drawing rams, that's really nice, and you could discard a bunch of rams, bam. And that's obviously more in the take that. But you can have cards that are completely useless because, hey, nobody is using goats. This doesn't matter to me. And I like that. I do like that. I think that actually adds something to it. I like it maybe a little bit better. But that's also everything that changes is those few choices. Not safe for work version. The only thing it changes is the theme of the artwork. That's all that changes. There is nothing changed to the gameplay. Some punishment, of course, but that's about it. Now the components. There are basically 4 components I want to talk about. The cards, which are actually really good quality. I'm not going to complain about them. They could be better, but that would also increase the price. I think at the price point, you're getting some pretty good cards for the game. So that's nice. The rule books are fine. They are obviously fold out. I want a magazine to go through, but they're perfectly fine, and they're actually, for such a simple game, they just quickly go through. This is how you do it. Bam. Nothing there. So that's awesome. I love that. That is not overly complicated. And box, again, I've said it before, I prefer you take the box off, but the little magnetic touch, it's good. I like that. So it's a perfectly fine box as well. A really good box. So, good cards, good box, fine rule book. The 4th thing is the artwork. I want to start talking a little bit more about artwork in these games, because for something like Team Unicorns, I say one of the reasons you buy it is the artwork. You want this on your table because it's cutesy, it's funny. I mean, if you have the proper age, this one is really, really fun. But it's just cutesy and fun, and it adds a lot to the table presence, obviously, with this great artwork. And it's a really good artwork. And obviously it's from T-Turtle, who does all those RPG-esque shirts and stuff. And people love it, and I think that's why it made so much money, and that company continues to make so much money because of the artwork, because of that recognition. Great artwork. Another thing I'm adding and talking about is theme, because I have to say I'm actually a very thematic gamer. I love games based off of theme, so a theme means a lot to me, and I'm choosing to talk about theme in these ones for the first time because it's not at all there. I mean, you can talk about maybe the Not Safe for Work version is the one that does the theme best, but that's because the theme is not safe for work inappropriate humor, adult humor, and it does it really well. But these other two, I mean, they're basically the exact same game, two different themes. That tells you theme does not matter whatsoever in a game like this. So yeah, theme is 1960, but I will be talking about theme in upcoming videos, because that's a very important thing to me, and I have to mention it. Now let's move on to Does It Lie to You? So, on the box, on Llamas and Needs, on Stable Unicorns, I believe it says the same, yes. 2 to 8 players, 30 to 45 minutes, ages 14 and up. So, and on the Not Safe for Work version, it is 2 to 8 players, 30 to 45 minutes, 21 and up. So, let's talk about Llamas and Needs and Unstable Unicorns. 2 to 8 players, sure. I have so many expansions for Unstable Unicorns, I can probably play a bit more than 8, but for the base game, yeah, 8 seems realistic with the amount of cards, and if you want a game from it, 30 to 5 minutes, you can do it quicker probably, but I think that's fair to pull away. Half an hour, 45 minutes seems reasonable. 14 and up, depends on the person's level of ability to read, and read English obviously. Depending on that ability, I think you can go a little bit lower, but again, depends on the ability to read English. Now the Not Safe for Work one, first 2 points per, the 21 and up. Oh, so this is made in America, hey? I'm sorry, I'm Danish. You could easily play this with a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old. They understand the jokes. It does not fucking matter. Of course, it depends on whether you're going to do the strip or the drinking game of it. But if you're just playing this one, then, you know, doesn't matter. If you're playing the strip one, be of the same age. That's like, I'm 20 personally, I would not play this with a 15-year-old, obviously. But if 2 16-year-olds and a 15-year-old, whatever, were to play this in Denmark, nothing would be wrong about that. The drinking version, 16 and up, in Denmark, nothing wrong with there. So the 21 and up is very much because it's made in America. I'm sorry, but we're a little bit more loose with those rules in Denmark. So yeah, we don't give a shit. It's so that depending on, I think that depends on which country you're from and what your opinion on it is. But personally, if you were to take this on a date, you're 16 and your son or daughter talks about it, as long as she's not with a 25-year-old, like if it's 2 16-year-olds doing as a date before, who gives a shit? So I have some disagreement with that one, but you know, it's up to you personally and the country you live in, the rules and stuff. But yeah, in Denmark, no. Yeah, I just exposed myself as not being old enough to play it. Anyways, the final score, I'm gonna give Not Safe for Work, Unstable Unicorns, and Unstable Unicorns, Not Safe for Work. I'm gonna give those a 6 out of 10. Personally, for me, a 5 out of 10 is just basic. There's nothing really over good about it. As I say, that's kind of the gameplay for me in this one. But because of the great artwork and, you know, there's a few things within it, you know, to take that. I do enjoy some take that. That means that I do give some enjoyment from it, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And I'm going to give Llamas Unleashed a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give it that because of 4 different animals and how you can interact with those. But of course, they're all pretty lucky in the cards you draw. But Llamas Unleashed, because of that choice, because of the differences you can have, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 instead of a 6. And the final question is, am I keeping it? For now, I'm keeping all of them. Because I really want to. I kind of have a thing where I want to get all unstable games. But yeah, if it comes in the future, Llamas Unleashed is the one I will choose. But for now, I'm keeping them, all of them. So yeah, that was the review. Hopefully I've done it in less than half an hour this time, although it's 3 games. But yeah, if you enjoyed, then please do, you know, leave a like, maybe subscribe for the upcoming videos. And I just hope to see you in the next one. Bye.